All right, today we are going to blend Chadwick. And when you blend portraits, you should have different sizes of blending sticks. And obviously you'll use the smaller ones for the finer areas, the eyes, nose, mouth, those features, those areas that are hard to get to. And then you'll use the bigger ones for the larger areas of value, which will be the uniform. Last video, we looked at the hair, and we talked about a technique called scumbling, which is a continuous use of the pencil to where you don't pick your pencil up off very much. It's not a scribble, it's not a curlicue, it's a very irregular pattern that is used to create texture in the hair. The value, all of this has been done with a 2B pencil, and concentrating on the dark areas first. And so I'm not going to blend very much at all in the hair. That would just kind of destroy the texture that we have worked so hard to create. So I'm going to leave that mainly pencil. But starting in the small areas first, okay, using a medium-sized blending stick. Using the feathering technique, where I'm just pulling the value up from the darkest area to the lightest area. And just smoothing out the pencil that's already there. If you get to a point where you start to blend and it looks smoky or cloudy, there's just not enough graphite there. You're not blending anything because you haven't applied the right amount of pencil. So be on the lookout for that. As you blend, you should be able to just create a nice smooth value, pushing together the darks to the lights. So it's not a matter of a lot of pressure. I'm not going back and forth. I'm just working with the pencil that has been laid, and that was during our last session, our last video. Again, smaller areas require smaller tools. So the blending sticks come in different sizes. Just a little bit of a highlight on his upper lip. And then a highlight in the middle of his bottom lip. Remember to work into the areas of highest reflectivity, which are the forehead, cheeks, nose, and chin. Moving over to the other side of the face, again, there's a strong highlight on the side of the face due to the light source, which leaves this strip of shadow, which then works into the larger side of the forehead, side of the face, cheek, and so on. Again, a lot of the time is just spend time feathering, bringing the value up lightly with regular pressure, not really heavy pressure. Sometimes you can use just a circular motion to kind of even things out. No eyelashes yet. I'm going to wait on those. Be one of the last things that I do to complete the portrait. Really relax your pressure in the lighter areas. Those areas of reflectivity like the nose, the tip of the nose, the cheeks and chin. If your blending starts to kind of lose the texture of the mustache or the beard, then just go back in and redefine some of those lines. Because we don't want everything to become soft. We want just those parts of the face to begin to blend together. As we move to the outfit, the Black Panther costume, that is going to have more value. We're not worried about the texture of the costume. We're just worried about the value. We want the claws of the necklace to pop out. And by pop out, I mean visually speaking. But by the use of contrast, we want those to be as white as possible. And we can make them look whiter if the surrounding value is dark. So if we can get the values of the outfit as dark as possible, then it'll appear as if those claws are white as snow, if we do it right. So just a 2B pencil. Once again, a 2B wooden pencil, laying it on its side, kind of going in, applying a few more layers before we begin to blend. And we can, it's a bigger area, so a bigger blending stick. Again, lay it on its side, fingers on top, thumb underneath, because we don't want to ever use just the point. We want to use the point as it is laying down on the paper. It's much more useful that way. So again, any smoky or cloudy appearance when you're done blending means that there's not enough pencil. And even after you blend over it, if that's what you get, the smoky, cloudy look, then you just go back in with the 2B pencil and add more value. That's all that you need to do. Remember, you can always go darker if necessary. And I'm basically doing this in two parts. I'm doing the part above the necklace, and then I'm going to do the part below and in between the necklace. And it's just going to be easier for me to kind of keep my values consistent that way. And remember, those claws of the necklace need to remain clean and white, so have your eraser handy, one with a kind of a chiseled edge, and that way if it does appear to get too dark, you can just lighten it back up. I use a little piece of cardboard to sweep off any eraser shavings, because if I use my hand, then I risk smearing the drawing, which is always very frustrating. Even if you're careful and you just try to do a light sweep with your hand, a lot of times you just smear it badly. At the very bottom here, what I'm going to do is just kind of fade it out. So I'm not going to bring that black value all the way down. And this is called a vignette, where you just don't have a hard edge around your piece, but a soft edge. It's a theater term where you don't do the whole play, but just a section of it, a segment of it. It's called a vignette. So just by the use of contrast, okay, with shading dark all around them, those panther claws will begin to pop out. At this point, we kind of look over everything, any inconsistencies in value, any inconsistencies in texture. Is the hair dark enough? On top, remember there's some highlight, but I don't want him to look gray. We have chosen to not do a black background, but we're going to leave it white. So it's very important to make sure that these edges are clean and that the values are distinct enough and don't make him look gray. Again, this technique is called a scumble. Sounds similar to scribble, but is not a scribble. Scribble is what a child does and is very uncontrolled. It just goes everywhere. The scumble is more controlled. The pencil does not leave the paper very much. It's an irregular pattern. It's not a curly cue. It's not the same thing over and over. It's very, very different, and the layers allow you to create a texture that is very similar to the hair that Chadwick has. So for this last layer, in the hair. I'm using a mechanical pencil with a very sharp tip, so that as the value increases, the texture is not lost. And that's very important. Right here at the edge where the beard meets the chin, I'm just pulling up, feathering right in there so it looks like the hair is attached. It's not like it's glued on, but it is attached as beards are. If I do any blending, I want to do it in the same, just using blend, so it's not really blending. It's the same technique. It's the kind of just the moving of the blending stick around, but all I'm trying to do is just kind of fill in some of those gaps that the pencil will miss. Any areas of inconsistent value, just kind of filling it in just a little bit, but I'm trying to maintain the texture. If I just go back and forth and you just smear it all to death, and it really doesn't work out very well. So we're pretty close to being finished, but on our last video, which will be coming up by the end of the week, we'll do just some fine-tuning. Probably go over it just one more time, but we're pretty close to being finished. We'll add the eyelashes and any finishing touches that we need. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one.